So my inner child helped me pay off my car. Yeah, for real. Let me tell you how. It's not a magic wand thing. It's just that when we really start to look inside and we start to feel our inner world, we can really draw upon some help from them. So I got a creative way to look at money today that really doesn't have a lot to do with art, but it does have to do with creativity. So bear with me and let's see how your inner child can help you save money. Okay, here we go. You listening up? Get your inner child on board and see if you can relate to any of these. Number 1, make saving money a challenge. When we think about saving money, it's always such a chore. It's such a grown-up thing to do. I know that saving money can be really hard because a lot of times we don't have enough money to even get through a week, let alone pay our bills at the end of the month. What I started to do at a very early age was I always made it like a challenge that if I found some money, maybe like literally found it like on the ground or in my pocket or something like that, or if I made a checkbook error, which, well, I do that quite a bit, found some extra money in my debit account, then I would use that money and make it a challenge to save that money. So I wouldn't take that money, that extra $2 or $5, and just put it in my wallet. I put it in a special spot. That was my found money, my savings money. And when I got enough of it, when it was physical money, I would go and I'd deposit it in the bank. And I remember my mom would take me to the bank and I would walk up to the teller and I would deposit my money into the bank. And I'd feel so proud because at the time, they had those little books and she'd write the date and she'd write the amount and then she'd write the total amount right there. And I'd take my little book and I'd go home and I'd keep my little book in my drawer. And I felt so proud that that's how much money I had in the bank. You know what? Honest to goodness, I think I still have my initial little book somewhere. I keep stuff like that. And then when I started to have my own job, I would make it a point to, if I found that money, I became like my own 401k plan. I didn't realize that's what I was doing, but what I did was I would play this like it was a challenge. I'd play a trick on myself. And if there was an extra like $5, then I would match it. I'd add $5 and I'd have $10 then, and then I'd put that in my little savings envelope. So I'd been doing that like pretty much my whole life, and it just got a little bit more sophisticated when I actually got an IRA account. Number 2 is kind of similar, but it's like make a game of it. Our inner child still sees things a lot of the way we saw things as a kid. I look at that part of myself as just the sweetest little part of me that sees things in very, very tender ways. So how can you make a game of saving money? I drove to my office as a therapist. I would drive there 3 or 4 times a week. I'd get off the freeway. I'd have to go left. Immediately to the right, there was a drive-through coffee shop. And so sometimes I would go left and I'd just go to my office. Sometimes I would go and I'd go right and I'd go to the coffee shop. So the days that I did not go to the coffee shop, I would go to my office, I'd log on to my bank, and I'd make an extra payment to my car. I didn't pay my car payment. I put in the amount I would spend at the coffee shop and maybe a little bit more. So if I was going to spend like $5 there, maybe $7, if I ended up getting myself a muffin too, then I would put like $10 there. Sometimes I didn't have $10. I'd put $5. So when you think about that, what I was doing is by the time my car payment was due at the end of the month, if I had 4 weeks in a month, and I did that even 3 times out of a week, and the 4th time I went to the coffee shop, then 3 times if I was able to put $10 on it each time, that's $30 times 4 weeks, that's $120. $120 that I would have spent at the coffee shop. Now, would I have done that anyways? Maybe not, because I don't know if I have $10 each day to go to the coffee shop, but I played this game with myself that said, but maybe. And so I just challenged myself. I'd look at my account and said, okay, $10. If I could do it at the coffee shop, why can't I pay my car? So halfway at the end of the month, I at least paid like a lot of my car payment down, or my credit card payment. And that was super helpful. I paid off my car early, and my inner child helped me do it. So think about places where you can cut like that. Can you skip coffee? Can you skip going out to lunch with your friends? What about going out on the weekends at night? I know that costs a lot of money. If you go out, you go to dinner, you go to a bar, you go to a movie, something like that, that can add up, right? Like $50, $100 easy. And so you do that 4 times, like once a weekend, that's $400. Tip number 3, ask yourself, do I really need it? So when we're looking at parts work, we might be challenged with a different part of us that's saying, yes, like there's a part of me that sees art stuff and is obsessed. If I go to an art store, it's over. So ask yourself, do I really need it? My mom used to always say, why don't you sleep on it, Trish? That was wise. We didn't talk about it at the time, but knowing about the brain stuff now, the brain does a lot of pruning when we sleep, restructuring so that when you wake up, sometimes you feel a lot clearer in the morning. That's why it's a good idea to have an Amazon cart. Just add it to your cart. It's there. You can look at it later. I know I go back to my Amazon cart sometimes and I'm like, what is this book? Or why would I even want that? Allow yourself the opportunity to sleep on it and think about it. Number 4, make goals for yourself. Is there something that you've been thinking about? Big things that you've been wanting? Maybe a new phone, a new computer, maybe a new pair of running shoes, or you want to take like a weekend vacation. Maybe you want to go see a concert over summer or a sporting event. Make a goal and allow yourself to save for the goal. Make it tangible. So just like with kids, we had the piggy bank, right? And so we could put the money in there and we could shake it. And it didn't shake as much when there was dollars in there as opposed to when there's quarters or change in there. And then the fun part about pulling it out and seeing how much is in there and counting it, seeing how close you are to your goal. You don't have to make it that hard to do. You could use the envelope system where you write your goal on the envelope and you put a little bit extra each week. So pay yourself first. Give yourself a little bit of an allowance, even if it's like $5 or $10 or $25 towards that goal. It'll add up. Every time you get paid, peel off 2%, 5%, 10% to you. Make sure you can pay your other bills, but start to see your savings grow. It teaches us patience, but it also teaches us contentment with what we have. Contentment is in the heart. It starts in the heart. It can't be bought. It's not based on the thing on the outside. It's based on our feeling inside. The 5th one is looking beyond yourself. Ask your inner child who they see and who they really want to help. It might be helping, charity, volunteering, like our inner child, isn't all about money. They see a need and they want to provide. And when we can like peel back layers, we can start to feel that again. And we can provide for that. Today, we can do a little bit of those things. And maybe you can save some of that money, $10 here, $5 here, for a charity that feels important. There might have been goals that you wanted to do that you're no longer able to do. And you can find a way to still achieve that desire inside by giving. I know for myself, I always wanted to go on an African safari. And I'm not certain at this point that that's going to happen. But what I found is that a local zoo allows volunteers. And so I'm going to go check that out and see if that will fit in my schedule. And that might be enough. So I hope you found this helpful. I hope your inner child was listening, because I'm sure they have a lot more ideas. List them down below if I didn't mention them. I'd love to hear your ideas. I want to try them too. Trust your inner world. They have a lot of useful tools that they've been employing your whole life. And you may not know it, but it's been happening. Your resilience, the survivor part of you, has been online and is still there to help you.